We're done with week one. It's over. Sunday's games in NBA fantasy basketball are finished. Let's recap Sunday's action. 9 games on. Big performances, weird performances, bad performances, injuries. We've got it all. Of course we do. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I've invented a new way to get juice out of an orange, so save your eyes. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. We've got 9 games, so we might as well bang in and talk about them. Let's just take a look at a little bit of news that is important for us here across the NBA. Eventually that'll work, I'm guessing. Man, this computer, it's not lasting very well, is it? It's not lasting very well. Oh no, I need a new one. I need a new one bad. I'm sure this will come up at some point. The joys. Some news. Joel Embiid, the Sixers got a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back. So I expected that Embiid would sit out on Tuesday, but he's not. He's sitting out on Monday, which is harder to stream. You could decide, take a guess, is it going to be Boner, is it going to be Drummond? But you don't know. And with 11 games on, I'm not sure that I'd bother taking the risk, honestly, because it could just go completely wrong. So just be aware of that. The Thunder also might be resting guys. I say that because they've played 2 double overtime games already. They've got a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back, and Chet Holmgren is on the injury report. Now, we thought they'd go a little bit cautious with Chet with his injuries from the first 3 seasons in the NBA, not year 2, obviously. And he played a lot of minutes in those games. So just, again, he is questionable on the injury report, Chet. I don't think anyone else is going to be at too much of a risk, but just be aware of that. Well, Josh Giddey got chucked onto the injury report with a finger issue as questionable. He did not play the final 4 minutes or so of the Bulls game on Saturday, so just be aware of that. If he is out, obviously Trey Jones even more. And then Fanapants Kevin Huerter gets a nice little bump in that scenario. We should look at some waiver wire trends as well. So who have been the most added players over the last 48 hours or so? You won't be surprised when you see the names because the big fella, the chicken, Cedric Coward, is number 1. I talked about him yesterday. People get so up in arms when you talk about him. He's been great. He will not be this good. He might get more minutes, but it doesn't offset the shooting numbers. There is going to be a crash. Just unrelated, we'll talk about Wizards and Hornets later on. But I understand people grabbing him. I understand getting ahead of it. Ben Shepherd, the second most added player. But we can talk about his performances, but it makes sense given everyone that's out. That is what you do. It doesn't always work out, but you attack the process of it. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is playing really well. He was bad last season. He's playing well, and I don't mind that ad. Sam Merrill's been playing well also. I don't think it's going to be something that happens when Garland is back. But for now, you can use that. And then the other guy that I think you just want to grab, because he's very clearly, I think, already better than Bub Carrington, even though they play different positions, Trey Johnson. So people are jumping onto the Trey Johnson bandwagon. The most dropped players, who are they? Well, we can have a look at it. D'Angelo Russell. Well, we'll talk about that. It makes sense that you would drop him. It makes sense that you would drop Isaiah Jackson. And the Pacers, it's incredibly confusing. We thought there'd be issues trying to figure out their rotation and their center rotation because they're so bad and the team's going to be bad. But not only did Isaiah Jackson move back into the starting lineup, he started next to another center today, and it was a back-to-back, and he played, coming off the Achilles surgery. What? So part of my issue with Jackson was I thought he'd play more, but I also thought he'd sit back-to-back. So I was like, I don't know where this goes. We take a flyer, we see what happens. So he's playing no minutes, but he is playing back-to-backs? All right, look, not that he was good, but we'll talk about it. Brandon Pajewski, I'm certain he'll be better than this at some point, but also, given the amount of guys that Steve Kerr can throw out there, I don't think you need to worry about it. Jalen Wells, easy drop. Ace Bailey. I didn't think people would cut bait this early on Ace. I understand it, though. It has not been good. I think that if you see him back in the starting lineup and he still does this, then yeah. I would try to hold if you can. We should probably get in and talk about the game, shouldn't we? We had early ones that happens on Sundays a lot. Nets, geez, my computer is really struggling. Nets and Spurs is the first game we're going to talk about here. All right, so the Spurs beat the Nets 118-107. Something going on with I feel like my voice is off there. I think we're good. I'm just paranoid about the crackling that we had yesterday. My computer, I just need it fixed, man. It's so annoying that this stuff is happening at this time of the year. But you don't care about that. Maybe you do. Who knows? The Spurs win 118-107 is your final score here in this one. On the net side of things, remember game one, we saw Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. just barely playing? Well, we got 38 minutes of Porter here, including some foul issues. 5 fouls. Did he? 5? No, he didn't. My bad. No. Ignore that. 16 points for him only on 36% shooting, but 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Well, Thomas dropped 40. Now, he had absolutely nothing else with poor field goals, but he was excellent from the line. These guys are going to do basically everything on this team until they're either not there through a trade or an injury. So their value is going to be fine. And in roto leagues, it's way higher than head-to-head leagues. So it's going to be okay. But there is going to be a lot of ups and downs through the season, but really good last 2 games from Thomas and Porter. Claxton had 10 and 5 with a steal, which is whatever. He definitely hasn't had a big game, but he hasn't had terrible ones. And then Ziaire Williams went off last game and then got hurt in this one. He thinks he'll be okay for tomorrow, but it doesn't matter for most of us. What I guess you want to know is what about the point guards? Ben Saraf started. He went scoreless in 15 minutes. Pretty obviously you're not rostering him, but the guy that many of you are rostering is Yegor Dioman, who played 19 minutes. He had 3 points on 20% with 1 assist. He is a rookie point guard. They almost always suck. We'll talk about one on the other side of this equation that doesn't, but they almost always suck. And he's in a timeshare and he's coming off an injury. I don't fully understand the necessity to have Dioman on your team at this point. I'd like to actually see him do it before I get interested. I understand getting ahead of it, but the pathway to him being useful, it's so far away in my mind. I don't see it. Let's talk Dylan Harper though, because on the Spurs side of things, he was great. He played off the bench, 29 minutes, but he's just really good. Now, he will not shoot like this. We know that, 73% from the field. He had 20 points, but he had 8 assists. And he basically played the same amount of minutes as Steph Castle. That is eye-opening. You know me, I am number 1 certified, board certified in fact, hater of Steph Castle. I hate him. Hate his guts, just hate everything about Castle. He's just disgraceful. I just don't think he's as good as you do. But I think Harper is by far the better prospect. He's going to overtake him as the better player pretty quickly this season. What the Spurs do, I don't know, because at the moment we talk about Dylan Harper and how he's playing. It's great. And do you go and add him? Like, sure, but will he do this every game? Will he shoot this well? No. What happens when De'Aaron Fox returns? His talent is undeniable, but it's just that pathway to having all of that we need is not. It's not 100% there, and it's a little bit frustrating, I guess. But if you want him, I get it. He is great, and you want to bank on talent. I get that as well. We'll just talk Wemby. 31-14, 4 assists, 3 steals, 6 blocks, bro. And he shot horribly from the line. 10 of 15 from the line and wasn't good from the field. I think October 26th, 2025, I think it's done in terms of who is going to be the number 1 player for the next 10 years. I think at this point, it's actually ludicrous what he's doing. It's so ridiculous. Devin Vassell had 16 points with 4 threes. He's got the opportunity now. He's got the momentum, but I don't see that it holds. And after a really good start to the year, Stephon Castle, 30 minutes, 13, 6, and 3, no defensive stats, no threes, another bad night at the line. But on a good side of things, his field goals have been pretty solid. But you are seeing the limitations of Steph Castle. You are seeing upside limitations because it's not going to get better when De'Aaron Fox arrives. For now, you are rostering him. I get that. But there's a reason why he wasn't prioritized in drafts by almost anybody, because it is going to be squishy here. It was a good game from the horse, 29 minutes from Keldon Johnson, 19 and 7. Well, Champagny just gives you those nice little threes. 3 threes, 13 points, 6 rebounds. And that's about it. No Luke Cornett, as I try to speak. No Luke Cornett in this game. We've got 8 games to get to, and we will get there. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by Monarch. Most of us can't remember all of our financial accounts, let alone what we're worth. 401ks and savings, investments. It can be easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. And that's why you should be looking at using Monarch, the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. You can organize your accounts and track your spending and get a better idea of how to budget and see where you're actually at from a financial perspective. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarch.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. NBA season is here, and nothing beats getting there live to watch an NBA game in person, but we don't want that headache of getting tickets, and that's where Game Time comes in to help. It is an absolute game changer for fans of all sports and live events, and including the NBA, because it can help cut down those queues and those hidden fees and all those things. Plus the other things that Game Time offers, like their zone deals, where you just pick an area of the arena that you want to sit, and it will find the best value ticket for you. And you can get tickets for NBA games for under $25 on Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, we're here talking about games from Sunday to end week 1 in the NBA. We might as well go on to the second game of the day, another one of those relatively early games. And this one was the Boston Celtics going to take on the Detroit Pistons, and Boston lose again. I know that their over-under was set at a comically high number, like comically high. I talked about this on the over-under show. They're bad. They're not good. And they lose again, 119, 113. They made, and this is, again, we can see some things that I think are relatively indicative of stuff. Right. They can talk about, they're going to be better than you think, the East is weak. And you've heard me break down all these arguments all the way through. Their moves in the offseason, after the Jason Tatum injury, and then making all those trades, their moves suggested 1-year reset. Get a high draft pick, keep our guys safe and healthy, and move on to 26, 27. All right, I don't think a lot of people thought that. That was part of my reasoning in Derek White and Jaylen Brown being faded in fantasy drafts. Part of the reason why I think you can just gain something small from looking at a game like this is that for no real reason, Hugo Gonzalez, their first-round pick, started over Sam Hauser. Why? When they were a serious team, when they were a team that was playing really well and a championship contender, you never just saw, let's just chuck someone random in. Hugo didn't play game 1. He was okay in game 2. But nothing suggests that he needs to go in and start. Nothing at all. So, I don't know that Hugo continues to start. I've got no idea. He might not. But the fact that they're just going to throw things around like this should give you the indication of where their priorities are. Now, we'll get an even bigger indication tomorrow. Jaylen Brown post-game's like, oh yeah, hammy's a little bit tight, mate. I do want to play tomorrow. Trust me, bro. I really do want to play tomorrow. I do want to play. I've got to go buy some, fake hairline paint, but I do want to play. I do want to play tomorrow, but you never know. It's still a little bit sore, just a bit sore. We'll see what happens. So Gonzalez moves into the starting lineup and is scoreless in 18 minutes. He did have 2 steals, but whatever. Slam Sammy Hauser moved to the bench, 8 points, 2 threes. He's been useful, but if we're going to see this, then it's all over the shop, isn't it? Because no one was out here. Josh Minot, DNP last game. Played 14 minutes here, 10 points and 3 steals. We know that Minot will be a great fantasy player if he plays 20 plus minutes, but we're not there yet. Let's talk about someone that I know is going to be giving some of you guys consternation. Not me though. Not me, because I just did not have any interest in Anthony Simons inside the top 100. Look how sad the bloke looks on that picture. Look how disappointed he is. There are unspoken things by teams. I spoke them out loud, but unspoken things about teams in terms of how they look at players or situations. They didn't do an announcement or a press conference or anything when they traded for this guy. Nothing. They wanted to move on from him. He played 23 minutes here, Simons. No assists. 12 points. He's a bench player behind Peyton Pritchard. I'm not dropping him just yet, but we are going to get there. I'm pretty certain. And he was going like 70s and 80s in some drafts, which never made sense. I like this from Nemesh Cater. The Pastel Donata played 26 minutes, 4 and 6, 2 steals, 3 blocks. It seems like he's establishing himself. I'm not going to be super confident about it, but it does seem like it. And you probably want to roster him. Brown was great though. 41 points, 6 and 4 with 5 threes. That's a great game from Jalen. He took 25 shots. And he was also awesome from the line. Just be on the lookout for tomorrow. And Derek White still can't get the shot going, but he had 15 points, he had 4 steals and 2 blocks, which is awesome stuff. Pritchard also, I think, is going to really blow up at some point. 21, 10 and 4. The shot hasn't been there, but it was pretty good here, 50%, but just couldn't hit his free throws. Don't worry about it. He is going to be fine. Well, we fell for it again with Chris Boucher. Are they going to start him? Are they going to start him? Against my better judgment, I was like, he's bad. He makes no sense on this team, but they're playing him a lot of minutes. Are they going to start him? Let's take a flyer. Well, sure. He played 9 minutes. He went scoreless. And I'm very certain that you guys are not still holding Chris Boucher. I bloody hope you're not, because it wouldn't make a great deal of sense to me to be doing that. I don't know why you would. Let's look at the Detroit side of this game. The Pistons get a good win. They need to get that. Jalen Duren, first big game from him, 24 and 17 with 2 blocks. And look at those free throws, man. 12 of 13 from the line. You don't normally get that from Duren. And then Cade was fine, 25, 3 and 8. He hasn't had big games yet, Cade. He hasn't had great games. He's been good. Maybe there's a buy low there. I'm a little worried about the loss of Beasley, the loss of Hardaway, and how it all works with him. It's not great that Levert's not there either. That is hurting him to some degree. But I'm a little worried that some of those numbers we got from last season just may not occur. It was the big Asar Thompson game, and one of the worries that we had was how much would JB want to play Asar, given the spacing concerns. Well, against Boston, it didn't really matter. 21 and 12, 2 steals for Asar in 36 minutes. We love it. And the thick Hogsman had 18, 8 and 4. Now, he'd been bad, Toby Harris. So this is good. It's enough indication to hold. I still don't, for the life of me, understand why Isaiah Stewart is populating 12-man rosters. What are you doing? Move on. And then Ron Holland, after a really good first game, the next two have not been good. He looked great in that first game. But definitely has not done enough in the next two to suggest that he's going to be a must roster. Although, if you've got him, you got 2 steals and you got a block, so maybe you hold. But I wouldn't look at him as absolutely someone that you have to have. Duncan Robinson had 8 points with 2 threes. He got a steal. That's what he does. He hit his threes. He's there to space. And he's not really going to do too much else. And he's a stream target and really not much more. Let's go to the next one. The New York Knickerbockers and the Miami Heat. The Heat win at 115-107. Poor start from the Knicks so far this season. You would hope that they could do better, but obviously they are not at the moment. They made a change to the starting lineup with Juice McBride out for personal reasons. Ariel Hukporti moved into the starting group, and he didn't do very much. 10 minutes for nothing. No points, 2 rebounds. Cool. We heard pre-game that Josh Hart would have no minutes restriction. There was no Juice McBride, and there is still no Mitchell Robinson for whatever reason. You should be very worried about Josh Hart. Now, they can say no minutes restriction, and maybe they were lying because coaches do that, but he played 29 minutes. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. I would not recommend dropping Josh Hart just yet, but I'm pretty sure in 2 weeks' time I might be saying it. He was egregiously ranked to begin this season. That was corrected, but still around 100 was more accurate, and this is worse than that. Jalen Brunson, 37, 6 assists, 4 steals, great. Towns hasn't, if you took him in round 1, I'd say so far you've been disappointed. If you got him in round 2, you've probably been marginally disappointed as well. It's not bad though. I think it's going to get worse when Robinson returns. 15 and 18 with 2 blocks. While I've been impressed with Bridges, 20 and 5 with 4 assists, and Anunoby had 14 and 6 with 3 steals. Not much else going on with that team, I don't think. Let's talk about Miami, and we'll just get straight into talking about Superman, Kelly Ware, because he started again, but I think it's pretty clear that Eric Spoelstra does not like playing him with Bam. 22 minutes only, 5 points and 8 rebounds with 9.3% usage. He will tease us. He will really VJ us on the edge, but the signs are there a lot. 5 and 8 is not good enough. 22 minutes is not good enough. I will hold him, but given the way that Spoelstra mixes and matches things, I don't expect 30 minutes, and I don't expect him to start every game. So I think we might move back into a drop type scenario for Superman at some point. The guy that had been starting for him and now isn't is Little Chungus Nikola Jovic. He had 6, 4, and 5 on 29%. That's not enough to hold. If you have him and you want to, by all means, do it. Let's talk about the good. Norman Powell, 29 and 7, 3 steals and 3 threes. Best game for him. Bam Adebayo, yeah, okay. Not at his best, but 19, 13, 3. You like those numbers? He's been a weirdly high turnover guy. What do you have in this game? I'll double check. 6 turnovers, was it? As I try to find it. 6 turnovers. That's obviously not very good at all from Idris. Jaime Jaquez, though, I think like the way that he's playing and the way that he's being favoured, I think you just got to grab him and go with it. 17, 5, and 5 for Jaquez. Now, the shooting will not stick like this, but it's the role and it's the importance that's interesting. And it's impacting Andy Wiggins, who I thought would do way more than this. I'm not dropping Andy just yet, 9, 5, and 2 in 25 minutes, but it's not good. It's not looking good. It's also not looking good for Davion Mitchell, who everyone was hyping up. Man, will he still start when Hero returns? The reality of Mitchell is he's not very good. And you can have your arguments about this, whatever. He's not very good. He is fine as a bench player. He is fine at times as a spot starter. But he had 9 points. He had foul trouble. The assists for him have been great. And you are holding him for now. But I think you just always, not always, a lot of the time when I'm talking about players, it's just about what your expectation is. I'm not, you can hold, I'd hold Mitchell, but have an expectation that he's not good. And he's probably going to be your worst player in like 4 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. And therefore, I'm not sure that it's going to be worthwhile. He'll have better games than this. He'll have worse games than this. But he's not someone that stands out and you go, wow, like just an amazing player. We've really got to prioritize him. And I do think that some of the shooting stuff for him remains fake, but it's been solid to start the season from old mate Davion. We're going to come back and fly through the rest of the games. Well, not fly. Yeah, we'll give them the appropriate amount of energy. But today's episode, it is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, and you can get in and you can check about riding the hot hand. Who's on fire? Does something look weird? Is a team getting by a fluky shooting? You think that's not going to last? Well, you can do live betting on FanDuel. You can do it with live same-game parlays as well. You can do their futures. You can do all the regular bets as well, straight ups and spreads, all that sort of stuff. You know what FanDuel has. It is everything there to test your knowledge. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right. Let's get into the next game, the fourth game of the day, the Charlotte Hornets and the Washington Wizards. When you go up against either of these teams, you should feel pretty good about your players putting up good numbers. And when they go up against each other, well, we're going to have some fun stuff a lot of the time. And that's exactly what we had here. Now, there was no Brandon Miller. We haven't really got an update on it. They're saying that he felt better this morning, but like this is a top 3 worst injury reporting team in the NBA. We all know that. And that's going to give us a level of fear. Don't drop Brandon Miller. But do add the big Areola, Con Knipple, who started in this game with Brandon Miller out. Knipple, who started game 1, then they benched him, which is weird, but he played 35 minutes. He had 20 points, he had 5 threes. I think he's shooting over 50% from 3 to begin his NBA career. Now, he is a really good shooter. It's not going to stay like that. I think we're all aware of that. But 35 minutes is what I care about. Is he an absolute must? I would say yes, just because of the worry about Miller. If he's a bench player playing 27 minutes, then no. But for now, we just don't know about Brando. So you look at Knipple and see whether the big Areola makes sense on your team and get in there and have a crack. He had 2 assists and a steal here as well. He's almost a top 100 player so far this season. Sexton's got an opportunity to keep his starting spot as well. He had a really Colin Sexton game. 20 points with no threes on 70% shooting with 2 rebounds. He did have 3 assists. He did have 2 steals. He is a frustrating real-life player who, again, I do not think that he is a good player. He is a scoring sort of 6th man type. But there's enough there with players out to be excited about it. And speaking of being excited, let's talk about Zion James. 13 points, 6 rebounds. No, not 6 rebounds, 0 rebounds. 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. The reason I say that is because some people play this and watch this show, and as I realize the screen's not across, I'll bring it back for you. I'll do the right thing. I thought I hit the button. I realized that the Zion James, like some of you play in the old double onyxes, don't you? The titanium diamond leagues. And Zion might be someone that you guys in those leagues have grabbed years ago. But he has been in the rotation since opening night. He is getting trusted by Charles Lee, which I didn't really think that would happen. Yeah, it probably helps that Josh Green isn't there and obviously Brandon Miller's not there. But just in deeper leagues, keep an eye on Sion James. What I did actually want to talk about is LaMelo Ball because, yeah, he was awesome. 13 and 13 with 5 threes and 3 steals, elite field goals, elite free throws. Top 10 players so far this season. Of course, the injuries are going to be the concern. But like I've said many times, I think that most of his absences last season and the year before were, he probably could have played, but they were trying to get better lottery picks. So we'll see where this goes. The center position, it had been Kalkbrenner and Kalkbrenner. Today it was Kalkbrenner starting, but it was Diabate who was the good one. It wasn't a good game from Kalkbrenner, 4 and 5 in his 22 minutes, while Diabate played 23 and had 12 and 10 with 2 blocks. Just look at Boston. Look at Indiana. And again, we said this a lot in the preseason, is when you talk about these bad teams with these bad center rotations, it's probably just going to end up frustrating a lot of the time as they mix and match and someone plays better and someone plays worse and there's no consistency with it. I still would prefer to have Kalkbrenner over Diabate, but Diabate showed that there's a little bit of life in the big fella there. Not a great Miles Bridges game from efficiency or field goal percentage. His free throws were great, but he had 22, 4 and 3, and there's probably not a lot else to talk about on the Charlotte side. There is, of course, though, stuff to talk about from the Wizards' point of view, the Wizards. Let's just start with Alex Sarr. I was pretty bullish on Sarr this season. I thought a top 50 season could happen, and I thought for sure he'd play more minutes. That was wrong. He has not played more minutes, and I do think it is a recovery from the calf issue because he's playing fewer minutes than last season, but honestly, it doesn't matter. He's a top 40 player now, right now. He's averaging 36 fantasy points. He's at 21, 4 and 5 in this game with 3 blocks. And 50%, 50%, 60% from the field. Bro shot 38 last season. And this is he might not be this good, right? But it's an unbelievable example or illustration of when you talk fantasy or listen to others talk fantasy or whatever you do, and someone has a claim and go, oh, Sarr, he's just going to kill your field goals. The differentiation has to be. He killed my free throws. He killed them. That doesn't mean that he will. And it's all about context. Does it make sense that he might improve? Yeah. Did he literally come out and say less threes, more shots at the basket? Yeah. Did it happen? Yeah. Just because someone does something once, that does not mean who they are. We don't draft off last year's statistics. We try to see what's going to happen. And that's why I was big on him. Yeah, Bub looks bad, man, doesn't he? 4 points, 5 assists, 2 steals. Like, getting 2 steals out of Bub is great, but like I think that Trey Johnson's already better than him. Johnson had 18, 4 and 2, blocked a shot. The worry with Johnson is that outside of scoring, I'm not really sure he does enough else. But the minutes are way higher than I thought they'd be initially. We're working with a really strong base. Pretty good to go. Happy with what he's doing. I don't think you hold onto Bub. In fact, John,
get that garbage out of here.
And I think adding Trey works. CJ McCollum finally got a good one from him without good shooting though, 24, 6 and 5. And Middleton was fine, but only 20 minutes. So we are still holding Middleton barely. But let's go to Keyshawn George now, because obviously there was a lot of hype around Keyshawn, obviously. But we knew that some of the stuff would fall away. He had foul trouble, so the minutes concern there. Don't be too worried. But obviously, this is a dampener on what he's been doing. 6, 8, and 5, no defensive stats, no free throws at all, and bad field goals. So, yeah, he's been great. This was bad. And this will happen. Don't worry about it too much. But this will happen. Best Cam Whitmore game, but still don't think you need to be worried about him in 12-team formats. Now let's go to the 5th game of the day, the Bucks and the Cavs. The Bucks did roll out the same starting lineup, but Cole Anthony was out. So that means that we got a lot more of Ryan Rollins, and he was great. 34 minutes in a start, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. He's turning into a waiver wire steal at the moment. We'll see what happens when Kevin Porter Jr. returns, but for now, you just roster him and you figure that stuff out later on. Another really good game from Rollins, who again, I believe, is a better fit in that starting group than what Porter is, but what do I know? Nothing. Generally, nothing. Let's look. There was no Kyle Kuzma in this game also, so you would hope that would mean that we'd get a little bit more Bob Portis, but also not really. 10 and 8, 23 minutes. Not good. Not good from Bob. I'm not dropping him just yet, but I do think that it seems like the only way he's going to be useful is if, like, Giannis is out. Because Kuzma's out, and it didn't matter. He is putrid at the moment. People are worried about Miles Turner. I understand. Right? I get it. Like, he's not dominating. 13 and 6, 2 threes, 2 blocks is fine. 31 minutes is fine. The role is there. It takes time to settle in on a new team. We've seen this. We've seen Miles Turner play for 10 years. We know what he is. We thought that he'd get more minutes in Milwaukee, and he did not in the first 2 games, but he did here. So maybe that's trending up. I thought that it was just going to... Look, I looked at this game and I'd heard people complaining. I thought it was going to be dreadful, but like that's fine. That's not a bad game. Giannis is dominating at the moment, almost 70 fantasy points a game, 40, 14 and 9, 2 steals, 2 blocks, just ridiculous numbers. And it was our first good game from Sam AJ Green. 20 points, 4 threes, not much else, but him and, we'll talk about the other Sam on the other side, they're putting up some okay numbers, although Merrill seems to be the best Sam that's going around at the moment. Gary Trent struggled a little bit, well, a lot actually, 6 points in 28 minutes for Trent. He had his 2 steals. He is not an absolute must roster at all. You can roster him in maybe 14s, but not a guy that I care for in 12s that much. If we go onto the other side of things and start looking to the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's where we're going, there's some intriguing performances over here. Evan Mobley was great. 23, 8, 6, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He's been very good this season. Very good. Jarrett Allen's been not very good. 2 bad games, 1 good one. This one's not terrible. I'll give you that. It's not terrible. 8 and 11. But it's not representative of someone that sometimes was getting drafted in the 50s and 60s. I still maintain my worry about what he's going to do this season. I think at the moment, with Sam Merrill and with Merrill starting and Garland out, you got to look to Merrill. Like 17 and 4. He's been top 60 so far this season. In points leagues, less so, but still top 110. He's putting up relatively consistent production. I don't think it's going to last long term, and DeAndre Hunter was back here. Strus is a long way away, but Garland's the one you got to watch now. Donnie Mitchell, bad at his percentages, but the other stuff was pretty good. 33 minutes, 24, 3, and 4. And as for Hunter, he was DeAndre Hunter. Now, you would have seen me target DeAndre Hunter in drafts and mock drafts a lot. And it was funny because I bag his game all the time. But there was a specific reason why I did that. With Strus out and with Garland out, Hunter was going to get more opportunities early in the season and he was going to score more. And in the times where I picked him was because I wanted to get more points onto my team. And he was one of those guys at the end who could give me 18 to 20 points for at least a short period of time that I could add on. Not going to give me a 6, 7, and 8 Draymond sort of a game. He's going to score. And he did. 16 points. 1 3. Would have been better had he not gone 3 or 5 from the line, but no defensive stats and only 4 rebounds. This is who he is. It might fall off later on when Strus and Garland are both back. A long time for Strus still. But overall, he's doing, I think, what I wanted him to do in this one start. Lonzo Ball's been really good. They said he's going to be limited to 20 minutes, so of course he played 23. 11, 6, and 5 for Lonzo. Points leagues, you can ignore that. But in any sort of category, 150-player league, he's at least streamable. 11, 6, and 5 is useful, and his assist numbers have been pretty good for the majority of the time here. Now we get into this game, and I don't really know how to break this down. Like, what do I say with the Indiana Pacers and the Minnesota Timberwolves? The Pacers, or the Wolves win at 114-110. It was a back-to-back for Indiana, and for some reason Isaiah Jackson played both games. James Wiseman started yesterday. James Wiseman today was available to play and was a DMP. Isaiah Jackson started. Jay Huff also started with Benedict Mathurin out. And then they copped another injury during the game with Obi Toppin hurting his hamstring. Now, let's start with Isaiah Jackson. Was he good? No, of course he wasn't. 15 minutes, 6 points. No blocks. 3 rebounds. But they're running out of names like real quick here. There's nobody available. They could, for their next game, have no Mathurin, Nembhard, McConnell, Halliburton, Furphy, Jones, Peter, Toppin. Yep. That's where we're at. But like, I don't feel good about adding Isaiah Jackson at all. I don't feel good about adding Jay Huff, 5 points in 16 minutes, who, again, is just bad. And Toppin had been playing center minutes, and Toppin had 9 and 6 in 17. He was the ad. But now what is it? Well, Tony Bradley played 25 minutes. Like, what? 12 and 5 steal block. That's great. He played like 10 minutes in the first 3 games or whatever it was. First 2 games. We could be in a situation though where it's Wiseman, Jackson, Huff, and who's the other one I'm missing? Bradley, like playing at the 3. Like this is how weird this is at the moment. I can't sit here and go, yeah, Bradley's the guy, Wiseman's the guy, Jackson's the guy, Huff's the guy, because there's been nothing in terms of consistency. And this is a team that is bad. They don't deliberately tank, but they're going to be really bad. Siakam, 33, 10 and 8 with 3 steals. He's going to put up monster numbers. But if you've got a handheld camcorder available, you might want to turn it on because Ray J. Dennis played 27 minutes. He had 12 points. Hey, by the way, quick check. Is he available on ESPN? I don't know. Is he? Check it. 12 points, 2 threes, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Ignore the 3 blocks. Fake. Don't worry about it. He had interesting numbers coming out of college. I was surprised he didn't get drafted, and he sort of floated around the last 2 years. But everyone's out. Like Quentin Jackson did return, but Dennis was great. Ben Shepherd did nothing. Now, was it the incorrect move to add Shepherd? No, I don't believe so. Because for this reason. You're not going to put your trust in Ray J. Dennis. If I want someone giving back shots, maybe that's what I'm doing. But I'm looking for real NBA shots. So I don't know that Ray J is my guy here. So Shepherd was starting. He'd shown some okay performances. He's not a permanent beast, but there are times when just everyone is out. So you got to be interested in him. He was just bad. 6 and 6 on 22%. Now we also know he is not a good player. He's a fine, serviceable backup player. And at times we just have to go with that and say, well, maybe you get me something, but don't put high hopes on it. I would still hold Shepherd, but I don't feel good about that. Neesmith, good. We got an uptick for him. 18 and 8 with 5 threes. He took a lot of shots. They didn't go in. He's been rough to start the season, but he's a hold for now. The other one to look at here. Hello. Jarris Walker played 1 million minutes. Most of them in the second half. 26 minutes, 5, 7, and 4. Because there's just nobody there. Now, those numbers are not good. He is a bad shooter. But rebounds, assists, and blocks. He's probably more of a 14-team ad, but this team is just looking... It's giving the vibes of like Memphis from 2 years ago where you're like, who? What? Huh? And it's going to be like... Remember when they had old mate Malginha Pereira playing for them? Remember that bloke? Yeah. It's giving that at the moment for the old Indiana Pacers. And now, onto the Minnesota side. Just draft Anthony Edwards. He never gets hurt. Never. You know that he's not getting hurt. You know it. You literally know that he's not getting hurt. Anthony Edwards, I said Davis today. Anthony Edwards left this game after 3 minutes with a hamstring injury. That was after he had a hamstring soreness in the game the day before and was questionable on opening night with back issues. The NBA and their refusal to, treat hamstrings properly or have a proper preseason is infuriating. So Edwards has what they're calling hamstring tightness, which is NBA code for we don't want to tell you that he strained his hamstring. I can't tell you how long he's going to be out because these teams screw this stuff up all the time. I would expect a week, but I honestly don't know. He could come out and play next game and then hurt it again because he was injured in game 1. He was grabbing his hamstring in game 2 and then he left game 3 early. So he's obviously been playing through it to good results. We'll see what happens now, won't we? In terms of where this ends up. So who was the replacement? Well, somehow it was Mike Conley. So Conley started next to DiVincenzo. He had 25 minutes for 6 points and 4 assists. We don't care. We're not adding him. I thought this was the perfect opportunity for Terrence Shannon, but I guess he's just out of favor with Chris Finch now. 10 minutes only. Very clearly not enough for us to care about. As for Dante, 38 minutes for the big Ragu. If DiVincenzo's somehow still sitting on your waiver wire, please, that's an immediate, easiest ad of all time. Finally got a good game from Naz Reid, but still only 23 minutes, 16 and 10 with 2 steals, while Randall continues just to be like unbelievable to start this season. 31, 4 and 6, and actually a good Gobert game. 19 boards, 14 rebounds, 2 blocks. And after a really rough start with people asking the drop question on him, good to see. Jaden McDaniels will probably step up if Edwards is out. This game does not look good. 11 and 5 with a steal and 2 blocks, but he just shot poorly. And what's important is he took 13 shots. Bones Highland, also for you in deeper leagues, will be something interesting. But remember, Rob Dillingham dealing with a facial fracture and the fact that he's bad. And apparently, again, Terrence Shannon out of favour. We got 15 minutes of Jalen Clark as well, but he's probably not much of a fantasy option. The next game, it's our mates, the Toronto Raptors, and our other mates, the Dallas Nico Harrisons. Toronto goes into Dallas and loses 139-129. The Raptors did roll out the same starting lineup. Let's address the Austrian elephant in the room. Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, terrible start. Really, really bad start. He had some back issues in preseason. Just looked like he was okay with it, but then he just cannot get out of foul trouble. 19 minutes, 4, 8, and 4. Now, in saying that he's been terrible, 4, 8, and 4 in 19 minutes is not the worst. You take the 8 rebounds and 4 assists. That's actually good. If he averaged 8 rebounds and 4 assists all season, you'd be very happy with it. The problem is I worry that the back is bothering him. Therefore, he's reaching to try and deal with his lack of athleticism with the injury, and that's causing the foul. So I'm worried that either the back is going to cause missed games or he's going to continue with this fouling stuff. He didn't start the second half, but he came in 20 seconds in, so I don't really know what that was about. So just be aware of that. That was Mamu Kalashvili who started and had 16 points. If you're in a deeper, stashable format, maybe you look at Mamu as someone, let's just grab him and see what happens if Poeltl has to miss time. It was the first action for Colin Murray-Boyles, and he missed all 4 of his shots in 13 minutes. Obviously, we're not rostering him anywhere outside of the deepest of deepest leagues or, of course, dynasty formats. The Prestige Penis, grade A Dick, had 10 points in 13 minutes. He is still incredibly over-rostered. Not a 10, not a 12, not a 150-player deep league, not a 175-player league. He's deep league stuff only. Quickly, not his best, but he's fine. 14, 5, and 5, and it was an excellent Scotty Barnes game. 33, 11, and 6, and Ingram had 22 and 6. Rowan Barrett couldn't quite keep some of his momentum up. Did have some foul trouble, but it's also been a really good start from him this season. Barrett had 16, 4, and 3. No defensive stats, though. Again, he had some of those in one of the games of the day, and it's a little bit interesting, but didn't continue. Let's go to the Dallas side. They went with the same lineup with Cooper Flagg at point guard, but we actually got D'Angelo Russell coming in as the 6th man, and now what, Jason? Russell plays 29 minutes. He has 24, 5, and 6 with 3 steals. He was great. They are actually, in real time, realizing the thing that makes your team better is playing Anthony Davis at center. Now, Goggles might start pissing and moaning, I'm actually a forward, I'm not a center. Please help me. It's so difficult. It's so hard to be a center in this league, in this world, in this life. What have I done to deserve it? But this is what makes the team better. Now, that is shit-ass news for Derek Lively, who has been terrible to start this season. He did play 21 minutes, so that's encouraging. He had 3 blocks. That's encouraging. But what happens when Daniel Gafford's back? This is, again, why this team makes no sense. They got to win, though. Credit to them. What do you do with D'Lo? He's obviously been putrid, but he was great. A 29-minute player who took most shots on the team, which, again, is not a real thing. He won't do that every game. Do you take the flyer on it? Do you prefer a Dylan Harper? I think I personally prefer Harper, but the Russell thing's interesting. Cooper Flagg, first game, not good. Second game, pretty good. This game, 22, 4 and 4, blocked, 57%. All right, we're on. We're cooking. I do think that we might end up with a top 30 season. Maybe. As for Davis, 25 and 10, 3 steals and 2 blocks, which, honestly, if you drafted Davis, I was fading off of him because I didn't like him at power forward, and I was worried about injuries. But if he plays at center, value's up. PJ Washington, 17, 7 and 5, just got to grab him. He's playing a lot. And as for Lively, what do? Do you drop him? I don't think it'll kill you if you do it. I think you'll be okay if you make that call. You don't need to roster Klay Thompson in any 10 or 12s. You're probably got to be 200 deep to consider Klay. Christie had 17 points, good game from Max, and Najee Marshall just doing little things. He's a nice, say, 170 player, 14-team league stream guy, Najee. 12 and 6, 2 steals. Perfect with his shooting. But an interesting change here. And again, what the hell? Guys are still rostering Gafford, by the way. If you need that IL slot and Gafford is sitting there, please get rid of him. Please. I don't see how he is possibly going to play enough to justify holding. All right, the 2 late games, the Portland Trail Blazers and the LA Clippers. The Clippers win at 114-107. The Blazers were able to roll the same starting lineup. out there. We'll start with them, and let's start with Denny Avdia, who did hurt his knee/leg just before halftime. It was a little bit worrying, but he came back. He played through it. 33 minutes, 23, 7 and 5. The percentages not great, but I think he's sort of on track for what we expected, I guess. Drew Holiday's been way more than I hoped. Like, I loved drafting him, but he is cooking at the moment. If for some reason Drew is not rostered in your league, and that's a reverse double Onyx, going at him. Donnie Klingon had 9 and 10, like he was fine, but the worries do persist with him when they go small and some of his concerns. I think his upside is limited for those reasons, but he's solid enough. And Jeremy Grant cooled off. And this is why we're not a big Jeremy Grant show here, for many reasons. He had 17 points, which is fine, but like DeAndre Hunter looks at this and goes, bro, like, can you like grab a rebound or something? 2 rebounds, 0 assists. Now, to be fair to Jez, he did have a steal and a block, which he doesn't normally do. I do not think that he is a must-roster player, but Jeremy Grant is playing well. Shaden Sharp is not. But I will say this. I know that everyone is panicking about this. Oh my God, this guy's terrible. He cost me the week. He might have. That's also true. But whatever, man. Like, we're good. He took 24 shots. He shot 29%. The reality with Sharp is he also, again, is not very good. He might become good. He might become okay. But at the moment, he's not a very good or well-rounded player, but he's being given the opportunities to do that, to become better. The role is fine. The usage was great. The shots just didn't go in, and we need them to. Do not do anything dumb and drop him. Not a good game from Ansel Adams' protege, Tamani Kamara. 5, 2, and 4. Didn't hit his shots. He's had 1 good game and 2 bad ones. Still, like, the numbers overall are not what you want, but I'm not also panicking there. If you're in a deeper league, like Blake Wesley is holding down that backup point guard spot. 6, 6, and 3. 2 steals, and with no Scooter there, it's a little bit interesting. Young Hansen, the percentages will keep dropping. Good. He played 4 minutes. He is nowhere near ready. It is not going to happen this season. It might not ever happen, but it's definitely not going to happen this season for him. I am pretty confident of that, although, again, there is a long way to go. The thing is, he's just so far behind where Donovan Klingon is, he's not going to overtake him, realistically, at any point. The next side of this game is the LA Clippers. They did make a change to the starting lineup, which was a little bit confusing. Bradley Beal was out after he took a hard charge the other day, and I actually do think that if you wanted to, you can drop Bradley Beal, but out of nowhere, it was Bogdan Bogdanovic that started. Now, Bogdanovic hadn't played a single second. He also didn't start the second half in this game. Chris Dunn was. So that was a little bit of, and this happens so often, start of the season. And we see this is why I tell everyone, don't panic, don't read huge amounts into the beginning of the year, because coaches are just trying to be in their bag. They're just trying to be sneaky with stuff. And eventually stuff settles down. Like, what the hell? Why did Bogdanovic start? It was Chris Dunn in the second half. We'll talk about Dunn first. He had 9, 2, and 1. Like, that's nothing exciting. He's a steal streamer. Bogdanovic went scoreless in 24 minutes, and I think this is appropriate. I think it's appropriate. He looks terrible. He looks so bad. He just can't get on the court. Encouragingly, Zubats played 35 minutes. 21 and 8, 3 assists and 2 blocks. That hasn't happened in the other 2 games, but it did here. It is also, again, further indication of stop. I'm going to yell here. Maybe if I do that thing that like the kids do on streams where they yell so loud that it statics the microphone. Like, stop rostering Brook Lopez. A stash format, whatever. Deeper formats, knock yourself out. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. But if you're in a standard 150 player deep, 12-man league with daily changes, you're just cutting off your glands. Like, what are you doing? There's no reason for it. We might get there with John Collins. We're not quite there. 16 and 6 for him, but another bench game while Jones played 22. And let's talk about the big names, though. Kawhi, 30 and 10. Hard fall, but got up. Jimmy Harden, 20 and 6, 13, 3 steals. Big games. Both those guys. Harden's really on track for what we expected. Kawhi's a little bit slow, but that first game really killed his overall production. And now we go to the final game of the day. The Lakers going and taking on the Kings. No LeBron and no Luka, and a million other guys out. And in place of Luka Doncic, it was Marcus Smart, who also got hurt in this game. He wasn't the only player that got hurt, because Gabe Vincent also got hurt. I would suggest that Gabe is probably going to miss time. Smart did return to the bench at the end of the game, so maybe he'll be okay. But I would say that Vincent is going to miss time here, which means that they've got no LeBron, no Luka, no Kleber. Christian Hayes is injured. Adu Thero's out. Vincent, and then Smart. You might be seeing Nick Smith or Bronny playing minutes. I'm 100% serious here. Austin Reaves was someone that I loved drafting this season. I didn't obviously expect this, because I didn't expect that Luka was going to be out. along with LeBron immediately. Like, I faded LeBron for age, and then he got hurt, so I love Reaves even more. But, like, this is ridiculous. 48, 11, and 9, 5 threes for Reaves, 2 steals. 11 of 11. You wish it was 11 if you're going up against him. 21 of 22 from Reaves at the free throw line. Just an unbelievable start. Top 5 player at the moment. Yes. DeAndre Ayton. Oh, okay. I know people were panicking about him. And understandably, he's not very good. But 22 of 15, steal and a block, you love it. You absolutely love that. And you hope that there's more of these to come. Because, again, when we're talking about looking at roles and values, who is his backup? It's nobody. It was also a solid enough game from, I got to make sure I get this pronunciation correct, Mpitsu. The Japanese Harrison Barnes. If I can find a way, let me keep that to myself. Rui Hachimura, 40 minutes, 18 points. Now, again, DeAndre Hunter looks at it and goes, bro, like, come on. He had 2 steals, Hachimura, but 3 rebounds and 2 assists. But these are the scenarios that I've talked about for years with Rui, with Mpitsu, is that when the way that you can use him is you need a lot of guys out, you need a lot of minutes, and you need him to shoot really high percentages. Bang, bang, bang. Got it. This is what it is. So if you want to stream him for the time being, while Luka is out, while LeBron is out, while every other dickhead in the world is out, go for it. Sharpen your Mpitsu. Let's go. As for Smart, 31 minutes. Didn't think the Unk had it in him. He was bad, though. 11, 3, and 5, and he's more of a deeper stream, while Vincent had 3 points in his 19 minutes, and like I said, I think he's going to be out. Someone by the name of Chris Magnon played. Don't worry about him too much. LaRavia, I hope we'd see more from him, and we did. 11, 6, and 5, a steal, 2 threes, 30%. Obviously, if he shot better, this would be a lot nicer. So Rui is someone that you look to stream in. I would probably stream LaRavia over Smart, and even more so now. And we also got a little bit more from Dalton Connect. 2 points. Let's take a look at the Sacramento side. This is just, honestly, look, not that it's unexpected, but I always feel for Kings fans because they don't deserve this nonsense, apart from the ones that are rude. But they don't deserve this foolishness. But this team is terrible. They were constructed terribly. Their coach is bad. And they shouldn't be losing games like this. But they did make a change that should make us all excited. Keon Ellis started instead of Isaac Jones. Yeah, he started the last game. But Ellis, of course, in the theme of the early season, got into foul trouble. He had 4 fouls in 8 minutes, played 18 minutes, and had 6, 2, and 1. If you are deciding to stream in Keon Ellis because players are out and he started, you've got to have the mindset of, I'm in a category league and I need steals. Anything else is a complete bonus. And if you're in a points league, I think you just ignore it in general, unless you're talking deep stuff. Ellis would have played more had it not been for foul trouble, but there's still a million guards on this team. It is not a great start to the season from Domantas Sabonis. I can't say that I am completely surprised. He only played 31 minutes here. Too early back from the hamstring, obviously, in my opinion. 10 and 14 with 3 steals, which is a real bonus, but only 8 shots. Again, this is why we faded him. This is why I faded him, and some of you didn't, some of you didn't. Dennis Schroeder's putting up some okay numbers. Now, the shooting is horrific, clearly. 18, 2, and 12 is good. The volume is good. No world should he be taking 18 shots, though. But this is the problem with constructing a team like this. Schroeder is pretty well known for having hot starts to the season and fading. So in the time being, if you want to use him, go for it. Like, that's okay. I just don't think it lasts. Well, DeRozan had 21 and 6 with weirdly bad field goals. Levine had... I said something wrong about Dyson Daniels' steals yesterday. I said he only had 3 for the year. He had 5, my bad. So correct me if I'm wrong on this. But I believe that Levine has had 2 assists this season. And part of the reason why Levine could be a top 60 player was he'd average 25 points on 48% shooting with 5 assists. Last season, when he arrived in Sacramento, the assists dropped by over a full assist per game. So that is why, when we did the preseason stuff, I was like, I don't want Levine there. It is worse than I anticipated, even though he scored 30 points in every game. 32, 4, and 0. No steals, no blocks. He shot really well. There's value in all of that. But the things are lacking. I just want more Malik Monk. This is great. The production is great. 15, 3 threes, 2 steals, 2 blocks. The steals and the blocks, he's putting up huge numbers. That is going to fall. That is floating a lot of his value. But what I don't like is he's playing this well with no Murray, no Clifford, and is still not pushing to 30 minutes. I didn't want to draft him. He's outperformed expectations so far, but I am concerned that this is not sustainable. Westbrook does not deserve to be on a 12-team roster, although 27 minutes, 18, 6, and 6 with 4 threes is great. The free throws are bad. I think largely that's an Alice foul trouble, Murray injury, Clifford injury scenario. But you watch it. But in no world, in my opinion, should he be playing 27 while Mugg plays 24. That doesn't make sense. Plus, Levine's playing 40. DeRozan's playing 40. I really don't understand anything that this idiotic franchise does. By the way, we talked about Dario Saric, how it takes teams about a week to figure out that he's washed. 4 minutes. 4 minutes he played here. In a week's time, he just won't play at all because he's washed. And they traded Valanciunas straight up for him. Remember that part of it as well. Shout out to the Kings. Shall we do the line of the night? I think we probably should. Who is the monstrous line of the night? Well, Austin Reaves was close. He was close, but he doesn't get the nod. It does go to LaMelo Ball, the unserious legend, 38, 13, and 13 with 3 steals. He does not play winning basketball as the Hornets beat the Wizards. The waiver wire line of the night, the best performance from someone available on waiver wires. And yeah, it's my man. This moment was made for me. Ray J. Dennis, 12, 2, and 5 with 2 steals and 3 blocks. Your young gun of the night is a Spurs guy, but it's not Wemby anymore. It's Dylan Harper. He was unbelievably good. I just want certainty in role. 20.6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. But if you want him, go for it. And the dud of the night, well, a couple of guys close here. Tamani Kamara was very close, but let's go with Ben Shepherd, who's up to 88% rostered on Basketball Monster. 6, 6, and 2. Not going to cut it, but the minutes are there. Everyone's hurt. Hold him. When they come back, you move on. I think that's relatively straightforward. And that, guys, that is week 1. In the books, done and dusted. Go. I hope that you had a successful week, but if you didn't, don't worry about it. It's week 1. So much weird stuff has to settle. Shooting numbers will normalize. Rotations will start to make more sense. Injuries will drop down. They will decrease. I assure you, injuries are high week 1 always. Losing week 1 is okay, as long as you don't make idiotic, knee-jerk reaction moves. Hit the thumb on the video, hype it up. Tomorrow we'll have a waiver wire show, we'll have a preview show and a recap show. I'm looking forward to all of that, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.